Hello, everybody, this is Purge, bringing you guys I played yesterday. I think this is one of my first games that I played in the new patch in 6.85, and I ended up picking a Wraith King. So Wraith King is a pretty fun hero. I actually like him a lot as a hard carry. I crashed the game. Okay, 1 second. Oh, my camera's way off. I like Wraith King a lot as a carry personally. I think he's very good. Oh, there's an update. Okay, that's why. I like Wraith King a lot as a carry. He has stun, that's really good. He has high damage potential with a crit. He has a natural lifesteal already in his abilities, and his ultimate is pretty good situationally. As long as you're not against mana drainers, the hero is pretty good. My update is still cute. I guess I'll just talk about generic. Oh yeah, or I could, do the Dota buff segment that I completely forgot about. Let's whip that up. Heroes. Wraith King, second to last of all heroes, and then we gotta open this up, and then I gotta do a screen region. Boom. Alright, perfect. Alright, I'll just make my camera a little bit smaller. Usually I don't even have a camera on this part, but I'll just do this and scroll over. There we go. My mouse is all hard to see. Okay, so Wraith King has gone up slightly in win rate, about 2%. He's actually got one of the best pub win rates right now. I think the hero's pretty darn easy and straightforward to play. So it's not exactly, I would say, it's not exactly difficult to play him correctly at the moment, and just a little bit better now. He basically had a 7 damage buff, and he also got a buff to his Wraith Knight aghs, I believe. I'm not sure if there was anything else like that, but let's just go here and then click here and go Wraith. Alright, and okay, so yeah, basically his only real change honestly was the base damage increased by 7, but that's pretty big because it means overall damage increase. If you're critting for 3 times your damage, then that's an extra 50 damage or so every time you crit. So this is the most common build. This is more or less the build that I went this game. My build usually varies a little bit if I'm free farm and I'm against, oh, I didn't realize my color was popped. If I'm free farm and I'm against a solo offlane hero and I have some supports in the area, I usually will get less levels of Wraithfire Blast, but if you're contesting all, I think it's more important to get more levels of Wraithfire. You always max crit before lifesteal by far, because lifesteal is already a really amazing skill point with just 1. Keep in mind this also works for ranged heroes now, so it's very, very good in an aggressive dual lane, I feel. Power Tread is very common, I think that's good. Armlet is fantastic. Desolator, I think Desolator's okay. I'm not sure if I'm a huge fan of it, but I think it's alright. It has a higher win rate than Blink. I'm not sure if I trust it. I feel like Desolator is just not an item that you can super afford to get. I'd rather get a Armlet over a Desolator, even though it's only a 2,300 gold item. God, it's so cheap. It's actually so stupidly cheap right now. I feel like buying an Armlet is like a must. I didn't buy Armlet this game. I probably should have. I still think the item is probably the best Wraith King item. But Armlet's really good. Desolator, I guess, is an option. I think Blink Dagger is very, very good. I don't really like buying BKB on it personally. AC is fantastic to get later in the game. Monkey King Bar is sometimes needed against some heroes. I think the reason this win rate is so high is because most Wraith Kings won't buy Monkey King Bar until very, very late in the game. And that's because they're winning and they eventually need to defeat evasion. So because the spot's so late, at that point they're usually winning, I feel. Blade Mail is occasionally useful as well. Magic Wand is really, really important to have in the early game because it helps cancel or deal with magic or mana drainers, as well as giving you enough to pop your ulti. Skull Basher is good, Abyssal. Basically damage items are great on this hero. And the main reason that the hero transitions so well into the late game is because he has 2 abilities that are essentially items. One of which gives him 30% lifesteal, so he doesn't have to buy lifesteal, and pretty much shouldn't buy lifesteal. And he also has a natural crit here for 300%. So he basically already has a crit, he already has lifesteal, and he has a stun, which is just generically very good. So basically all you have to focus on is doing as much damage as possible, getting moderately tanky, and maybe a little bit of mobility, whether that's a blink or something else. So here's he's really good against Zeus. I guess Zeus just kind of dies if you get on top of him because Zeus can't disable him, and the nuke isn't really that much of a threat because you're going to be respawning anyways, so that kind of makes sense. Good against Bloodseeker. because Bloodseeker's Rupture, once it goes away, you don't have to worry about him too much, and Bloodseeker's a little countered by physical. Kind of the same thing for a lot of these heroes. A lot of these heroes are very burst heavy, but the disadvantages are all pretty weak. Heroes he's awful against is Phantom Lancer, Anti-Mage. These two heroes can drain his mana, most importantly PL, and Wraith Kings very rarely have AoE. They'd have to get either a Mjolnir or a Battle Fury, neither of which are really items that you want too badly. Mjolnir's okay, but Battle Fury is arguably better, but not that much better. So it's basically all heroes that he can't deal with the AoE very well, or heroes that he loses to. Undying, stuff like that. Keeper of the Light. The top 4 are all heroes that can drain his mana, though, so not too surprising to see those. His stat gain, pretty awful agility and int, but his strength gain is very good at 2.9. His movement speed is normal. Base damage is now very good, 61 to 63, and that's pretty much all there is to say about the hero. Not that interesting. Really good win rate, though, 56%. He's got to be in one of the top win rates. And myself, oops, I want heroes. Wraith King. I have a 56% win rate in 51 games played. I actually feel very good at Wraith King. I feel like I know the hero decently well. Is my Dota ready yet? Ready, Dota 2, play game. Okay. So pretty straightforward on Wraith King. Close your eyes, guys. I'm warning you. Close your eyes, close your eyes, close your eyes, close your eyes. Alright, no spoilers. We did it. If you close your eyes. Maybe I should explain to tell you to close your eyes first, why I was telling you to close your eyes. I wasn't like gonna... Oh, don't crash. It crashed again. Alright. Alright, we've learned our lesson. Reborn, you don't fuck with Reborn. Failed to start game app already running. Not true. Alright, prepare to close your eyes, guys, if you don't want to get spoiled once again. Because I have to again load the game back up. Close them. Shh, don't look. So I tried a little bit of a different item build this game. I don't really think it's better, but I thought it was interesting. So I'm going to go up here. Oops, I forgot I have to do this, and I have to uncheck this. That way my mouse doesn't flicker. So what we're going to do, we're going to speed this up. So, I did a different item build this game because I wanted to try it out. This is the build that I've seen Barnyy do consistently, and Barnyy has a very good Wraith King. You may know him as a streamer. He's a pretty good player. He's around where I am, I think. I might be wrong on that. I saw him play solo queue once and he had like 5,800. He plays almost all carries, and he plays a lot of Wraith King. So I've seen him go this build before, and it's basically the Phase Boots build. And I never really liked Phase Boots on Wraith King personally. I always kind of felt like Treads was the way to go, just because, first of all, mana reasons, because you can Tread switch to Int, so you get more Wraith Fire Blasts, you have a better chance of getting your ultimate off, stuff like that. But to be honest, you can kind of get away with lower mana pool just by having just a magic wand pretty much is going to get it done. I got 1 skill point in stats early game here as well, which helped a little bit because that gives you 26 int. So I feel like you can kind of get away with all that stuff. I'll pull up the last hits if you guys are curious. So this game, now that mangoes are cheaper, I was able to pick one up pretty early. In addition to a clarity potion, I actually really like this starting item build. It makes me survivable with the Stout Shield. I've got plenty of HP regen. I have a lot of mana regen if I'm missing a lot of mana, and if I need to score a kill, I can use a mango to heal with that. So it gives us a lot of kill potential, basically. We're doing a dual offlane with Wolfman here. Wraith King and Winter Wyvern I actually like quite a bit, because once I get my lifesteal point, then he can actually lifesteal as well from range, and I think that's pretty cool. I was about to stun him there, but then he got away. Luckily we got the slow off on the Batrider here, and as soon as this runs out, I'm going to go for the stun. I should have mangoed earlier, that was awfully stupid. And because I mangoed late, we didn't get the kill on the Batrider, and then we ended up getting double killed here. Which I maybe shouldn't have spoiled for you guys, but spoiled we are. So that was really unfortunate. That's kind of my fault, honestly. If I just would have mangoed, we would have killed the Batrider, and at least we would have had first blood, and I could have bought boots before I died, probably. Instead, we ended up giving them a double kill, both kills went to Lich that game, and Phantom Assassin got the assist. So this is pretty much worst case scenario. When you do dual offlanes, it's dangerous because if you ever get behind, you could just kind of get screwed because they can just outplay you with their gold advantage or their item advantage. And that leads to very dangerous things, basically. On the bright side, the Phantom Assassin simply is out of HP at this point, so I can at least pressure him a little bit. And I did a thing here to pull the creeps back because I wanted to kill the range creep first. Or at least have it a little bit closer to me. I don't do that nearly enough. A lot of players around my skill level do that, but I almost never do, which is a big mistake. We did see the Bounty Hunter here, so we know that he's in the area. I can't remember if I had awful last sitting this game or not. For some reason you can see like the bounty on the map all the time. I was thinking about stunning there. I should have stunned from darkness if I wanted to do that, but I didn't necessarily want to waste mana. Yeah, we can like constantly see where he is on the map of the replays for some reason. We're basically tri-lane versus a dual lane. This is not a situation that you want to be in. I didn't necessarily want to throw stun either. My level 1 stun isn't a very high level. It only does 50 damage on impact, and then another 80 afterwards for damage over time. So it's not really an ability that you can spam, especially when my mana pool is what it is. If I throw a stun, then it puts me in a bad place. I think Wolfman right now should use his Arctic Burn, because he could have hit both heroes with it, and it would have done a lot of damage. But because there's more creep waves, you have to back. So again, they do have a gold advantage over us. They have a level advantage over us, I think. Very slight, because they've been getting more experience than us. It just puts us in a really tough spot where we have to play very safe, and we have to go for very safe kills. So the people we're going to be aiming for are going to be Lich, primarily. The PA's probably going to have at least one skill point in evasion. And he's also going to have either a Stout Shield or a Ring of Protection, which makes him difficult to go for. So whenever you're in a losing lane like this, you always have to keep in mind those kinds of situations. Like, am I losing the lane? Do I need survivability against, or do I need to go on the squishy person? Can I go on the carry instead? And we have to realize that we both do damage by right-clicking a little bit. So we need to make sure that we're going to be able to do damage to the important heroes, which is going to be Phantom Assassin. So it would have been a good time to go in, I think. But he should have gone on the Lich first, I think. We did a decent amount of damage. Again, I'm pretty patient with using my spells. Because I was a little out of position there, I felt okay with not stunning. Again, it's not that big of a deal. Using Arctic Burn and hitting a couple of people with it, you don't lose very much from that. I get a few right clicks in. Gives us a little bit more space to farm. So when I have played Wraith King against a PA a couple times in like a lane like this where I was playing like off lane, and I actually think it's very, very good to max out your stun first. You kind of have to, but again, if I'm playing against a typical off laner where my right clicks are actually going to matter, then I'll usually actually max out my crit first. It doesn't increase your damage by a huge amount, but it gives you the potential to take off like a fourth of somebody's HP in the early game once you get your Armlet. And again, Armlet is so cheap now. It is a 2300 gold item and it gives you 60 damage. It's actually one of the most valuable items in the game right now. It keeps getting buffed and buffed. At some point, I don't know. Unfortunately, he missed. That was really unfortunate. But Armlet keeps getting more and more buffed. If we look at the item, let's see if I can open the shop. I cannot. Unless I go free camera. Alright, so let's take a look at Armlet quick. This just got reduced in cost. It's only 900 now. Armlet is 32 or 2320. This is the base stuff. 9 damage, 25 attack speed, 5 armor, and 7 HP regen. So it's not a very good damage item by itself, but when you turn it on, you get a bonus 31 damage. So it basically gives you 40 damage, 25 attack speed on any hero that's not strength, and it also increases your HP by about 500. If you actually have an arm, if you actually are strength, then you get a further 25 damage, and you're hitting for 65 damage with 2300 gold. Maybe this is one reason why they nerfed Huskar very slightly, was because they buffed Armlet ever so slightly. This is kind of dangerous. I had a 7-stick, so I wasn't too worried. If they went on me, it wasn't going to be a big deal. But with Wolfman coming back, I felt like I could be aggressive here. With the stun. Thought his Chilling Embrace there was fine. I really do like this lane synergy though. Wraith King Winter Wyvern is pretty cool. I'm just talking about the Vampire Core, it's really nice. And my HP is pretty high, so I guess the Chilling Embrace actually does quite a bit. I really would have thought that the Bounty was going to roam on us a little bit more this game, but he had not. Alright, and now I'm going to buy a Gloves of Haste. So I think I was planning to go Midas this game. I think if you do go the phase Sanj and Yasha build, that you have to get Midas first. I think it's kind of a requirement, because otherwise your attack speed is just way too slow. So I would skip this build if I was in any way having a mediocre game. If I'm having a mediocre game, it'd be much better off to go for Treads. And you can go Treads Midas as well, but if you go phase boots, you should definitely get Midas first. So I also grabbed the glove. I could also transition into Treads if I really wanted to, but a Gloves of Haste early is not terrible right now. It got buffed slightly, it goes up to 20 attack speed, used to do 15, so it's a little bit more cost efficient than it used to be. If I grab a Belt of Giant Strength, I give myself 6 damage and I give myself like 100 HP, but I kind of like the Gloves of Haste as well, just for the extra damage output. I felt like that was a good opening opportunity to go. Okay, very, very good. The Wind Ranger was coming too. This is a pretty obvious dive for us. I had to sit back here with my Clarity Potion. I could not believe that this guy missed that. I was like, I actually rage typed to him because it was a literally stunned hero and he missed the power shot. He must have been like charging it up before I threw the stun or something, but I was quite upset with that one. Doesn't look like he quite has the mana. He got that one at least.
Even in death, you'll not see beyond the Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I probably got a little too close there because it kind of revealed to the bounty hunter that I was coming forward. Wolfman really messed up his Splinter Blast there.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
I couldn't believe this guy came up so far. I have my ultimate if he dies, so it's not a big deal. When you are playing this hero though, make sure that you generally don't skill point unnecessarily. He looks like he was going to live to me, even though we did do some good damage. Always save your wand for last second. I just bought my wand here in case the real bounty hunter was here. It looks like our dust was a little bit short. That was awfully confusing. My stun was even a little bit late there, but everything's kind of working out. We just battled so much in the offlane. It's really fun to do that. It's a good way to get good at the game, I think, or to like better learn the strengths and weaknesses of your hero. So I think a lot of people, when they play Dota, they basically just go to their lanes and they'll play standard stuff. I mean, I guess this doesn't happen as much in lower levels because there's a lot of dual lanes, but you need to really learn to be really, really, really good at Dota. You need to understand exactly how strong your hero is and what your capabilities are. And then from there, you also have to predict where people are on the map. And if you know that perfectly, you'll never make a mistake, basically. Well, that's not true, because you're still sometimes going to get predictions wrong. You won't always know where somebody is going to be, because maybe they'll have like 2 options. Maybe the supports will be sitting behind mid, or they'll be sitting behind their safe lane. So you just have to gamble sometimes, right? And that's why people do end up dying at the highest level, despite being really good at the game. But in lower levels, I think it's just really good to practice this kind of stuff. Unfortunately, the creep spotted me, but again, the Lich came too far up. Should be some easy damage. Definitely want to chase this here. Nicely done by the Spectre as well. That damage output surely helped. Wasn't quite ready to waste my reincarnation, but... So even though the Phantom Assassin does have evasion, you just still gotta hit her. Don't worry about the evasion too much. Like most PAs in the early game, they won't get very many levels of blur. It's 1 skill point. This is a totally standard build from the PA. I mean, her positioning hasn't been amazing, but this is 20% evasion. That means once out of every 5 hits, on average, I'm gonna miss, and that's not that bad. When I can still throw a Hellfire Blast every 8 seconds and do like, what is this, 300 magic damage with it? It's not bad damage. I should have thrown the stun after my second hit.
Dominate.
Darkness visible.
That was good. Alright, now I got my crit level. Again, if you guys are in a lane where you're actually fighting a lot and casting a lot of spells, I recommend getting a stats level early. If you're just passively farming, it's probably just better to get a crit instead. So I got my Midas now, it's about 10 minutes. It's a little slow, but considering how many kills and how much action we've had, this is not bad. I've created a lot of space on the map, obviously we've had a lot of rotations and stuff like that, but we're killing them much more than they're killing us. We're really limiting their carries farm, and if you look at their lineup, if we shut down the PA, they actually get screwed, because PA is their main carry potential. So it's really, really good to aggressively lane if they only have one hero that needs to do well, and their lanes are a bit weak. Lich is obviously very good at laning, and he's limiting our experience gain and all that stuff, but if he's dying, it doesn't make that big of a difference. So Quelling Blade also extremely important. If you ever spend any time jungling for more than like 4 minutes, you really should buy a Quelling Blade, because it's going to increase the amount of decrease the amount of time it takes for you to kill creeps. Because I'm increasing my damage against these neutrals by 40%, which is basically what, 8.8 times 4, which is basically 9 times 4, 36 damage. So I'm basically getting 36 damage for 225 gold. And look what it did down there. I got trapped in the trees and I Quellinged myself out, where otherwise it would have been dangerous. And you can use Quelling Blade for like juking and killing techies mines and a lot of other really good things. This is a really shit call. I don't remember who it was. I think it was like our Wind Ranger or something. He was like, defend top, defend top, defend top, defend top, defend top. So Wolfman went top, and nobody else went. So he just died, and then he was mad because the guy said defend top. But when somebody makes a call like that, you do have to look around the map. You can't just like look at calls and like blindly follow exactly what somebody's doing. You have to realize, is it good, and am I coordinating properly with my allies? The coordination part's really important. Like if somebody says gank mid, you don't just run mid under tower and attack the guy, right? You assess the situation. You look to see if you can go, you look to see when's the best time to go, when the creep wave will be in the right position, things like that. And I didn't have a TP, so partially my fault that I wasn't there. So again, the phase change was, it still does 24 damage, but now the phase duration lasts less, but the speed it gives you is much higher. Let me pull it back up on the other screen. Dota2.com. Click on this. I want to go phase boots. Alright, so they used to last for 3.6 seconds at 16%, but now they last for 2.5 seconds at 24%. And I think the reason they did this was because for one reason. I mean, if we do the math, let's say, if you're getting 16 movement speed, can you guys see this? No, you can't. If you guys get 16% movement speed, we'll just say 16, and we'll multiply that by 3.6. So that gives us 57.6. This is the, I don't know what unit this would be called, the amount of movement time that you get or something. The distance and movement that you get or something like that. My frames are low because I'm all tapped, by the way, if you're wondering. If we multiply 24 by 2.5, it's slightly higher, but it's virtually the same value. So basically the amount of distance that you cover is faster in a smaller amount of time.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Or it's the same. So you're basically getting as much movement speed increase with phase boots as before, but it's now very focused, which I feel like is a very strong thing, because you generally, I would say a shorter burst of speed that's faster is better than a moderate increase of speed that is slower. It helps you close distances when you're ganking. It helps you evade spells faster, things like that. There's a lot of reasons where having higher movement speed is better, even if it's less time. And most importantly, the biggest reason is because if you think about who can buy phase, most of the time a lot of heroes don't buy phase because they have to cast a lot of spells. Like Bristleback, for example, he casts quills every 3 seconds. Like, does he really want to use phase when he's going to be like goo, quills, goo, quills, goo, quills? He doesn't get that much value out of phase. But watch this. I'm going to use phase boots as I'm collapsing in on my opponent, and all of a sudden I'm super fast. Like once your opponents see you coming, the extra phase movement speed is actually quite good. So I think something I'm going to try later this week is I'm going to try buying phase boots on a support hero. I'm not sure what support hero I'm going to do it on yet. I think it's going to be Ogre. I think I'm going to try it on Ogre. But I feel like phase boots might be really good on a hero like that, like a support hero. And you can basically use phase boots as your new mobility item. And I want to see how that plays out. I think it's going to take a bit of time until people use phase more, but I was honestly very impressed with the movement speed increase that I got this game. When I use phase, it puts me up to like 410 movement speed or something like that, which is incredible. There it is, 434. I'm getting 80 movement speed from it. It's so good. Let me do the math so I can understand how phase works. 350 times 0.24.
Radiant's middle tower is under
84.
attack.
Is that 430? Okay, so it is based on your other movement speeds. So if you get multiple movement speed items, it makes you faster. I believe. So
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
I did not have my ultimate, unfortunately. I felt like I had to run left because Winter Wyvern ran this way. Maybe we should have had a Winter Wyvern run this way and I should have ran this way. Would have been better, but I ended up dying there, unfortunately. It was right before my ultimate. That level 1 ultimate, you really don't want to use it if you don't have to. If you get a kill for it, I guess it's worth it, but it just makes your hero so much worse afterwards. Like a Wraith King without his ultimate is just a crappy hero, I feel. Oh well. So 300 times 0.24 gives me 72 plus 300. I don't know exactly if it adds in your boot speed or not to the phase. I want to see the number when I use phase again, and then we'll figure it out. Sell that, pick up my Ogre Club. Ogre Club's kind of a crappy damage item, really.
My quiver is empty.
Can you Midas those? I feel like you can Midas catapults now, can't you? I might be wrong on that. So 434 is 84. That was a really good relocate from the spec. He did a great job watching the map this game. Really good job. So yeah, it looks like it adds in the speed of your other items, like your base speed, whatever your, not your base speed, it's your speed. Whatever your speed is, that's what gets boosted by movement based abilities. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, I really felt good about phase this game. I normally really advocate for getting a blink dagger on this hero because it helps in so many ways. You're a bit clunky, you can blink after you ult in case you get into trouble. That part's really good. In addition to that, you can blink to initiate. You blink, you instantly stun somebody. You can go on BKB targets. If you're head in items, you can usually kill them during that time period. There's a lot of really good things about it. Like, I feel like Armlet is so stupidly core in Wraith King now, honestly. I'm just thinking about the money I spent on this frickin' Sange. I spent 2,050 gold on Sange, which gives me 16 damage and a good amount of HP. I literally could have just bought an Armlet for 2,300 gold and gotten 65 damage. Like, I literally lost so much by not getting Armlet this game. It hurts you so bad. I just cannot see a world where Armlet is not an item that you at some point buy and put on Wraith King. I just don't see a reason not to. Plus you can Armlet toggle. There's just so many reasons. When you have a built-in lifesteal, it's just completely obvious that you should buy it. Other heroes, if they have to spend 2,000 gold to get the lifesteal to offset the HP you're losing, like, I can understand why maybe that's not the right thing to do. But on this hero, when you automatically have lifesteal, you basically have a lifesteal item with just one skill point. What's the purpose not to just buy the Armlet? I feel like it's absolutely 100% core. It's just too cheap. So, anyways, the Sange build is still an option, but I feel like the best Wraith King build by far is you either rush a stupidly fast Armlet with treads, or you go treads into Blink Dagger with a wand. You should get wand either way, but you go treads into Blink Dagger maybe. And then after Blink Dagger, you would get your Armlet. I think that's probably the best build, the Blink first one. I think that one's better because it just lets you fight a lot early. If you go that build, it's probably better to max out Wraith Fire Blast. So that worked out alright. If I actually had an Armlet there, I probably could have killed Elder Titan before I died, and I definitely would have had a lot more HP. The other reason that this build is just frankly not good this game is because against an Elder Titan lowers your armor based on your stats. So if you go a very agility heavy build to get some of your armor, then he just counters you. So when I get Sange and Yasha, I end up with a decent amount of armor, but it's entirely limited because he reduces my armor based on my agility. So it's another reason that generally it's just better to get an item that gives you raw armor. I don't know if the same can be said for other heroes, but because Elder Titan is kind of a very rare case, but trying to think of other situations where I might not be better. This guy was awfully confusing.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
I guess the Sange proc is something that I get out of my weapon. Gives me 26 damage versus an armlet giving me 65. It's just not worth it. The slow is pretty good, 15% chance for 20%, but it's just very, very clear that armlet is superior. I ran south partially to try to avoid it, but also because I wanted to make sure that I would be close to my opponent. If in case the fight started, I wanted to be closer to my opponent than I wanted my support to be. Alright, so now I've got my SNY finished at 19 minutes. He actually does so much damage to me. But that's because I have 0 armor, basically.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Normally I'd be able to take a hero like that, but because he's level 12, he's got the full passive up, and because I bought Sange and Yasha, I just die instantly. So that fight right there is a perfect example. I should have been able to win that fight. If we look at my net worth, it's probably towards the top. I'm the most farmed tier in the game, and I couldn't even like trade hits. Yeah, I was missing a lot of HP and I did my ultimate and stuff, but I should have been able to trade better, or possibly get a kill in that fight easily. If I would have had Armlet, I definitely would have been fine there. So if you guys are ever against an Elder Titan, you definitely need to get Armlet over a stat heavy build. You just need a little bit of armor items. You should need to go heavy in armor items, actually. Because -8 armor just by standing near me is pretty freaking amazing. So, with that said, the items I currently have are pretty good. The benefit to the Sange and Yasha is that it kind of gives you an alternative to the Blink Dagger. If you don't want to get Blink Dagger, you can go Sange and Yasha instead. Because I'm sitting at 406 movement speed base. SNY gives me 16% movement speed, which is pretty amazing. And then if I use phase, I get an extra 24 on top of that. I was AFK for quite a while here. This looks like an okay time to TP the lane and then run through this way. It looks like I went mid instead to midas a creep. So when I use phase, I'm running at 490, which is amazing. That's actually so good. You could also maybe argue that you could just go phase Armlet into SNY. I don't think that would be too awful. Again, Armlet does give you pretty good attack speed. It's like 25 or something like that. It's not bad. And this gives me 16 agility and 16 attack speed, so I'm getting 32% attack speed out of Sange and Yasha, which is not bad. Just the movement speed felt so good. I felt so fast this game. It's quite nice. So I guess if I was going to go this build, I would definitely still throw an Armlet, and I'd put the Armlet in before the SNY, for sure. And after I grabbed Armlet, I might go Yasha first before the Sange. If you don't have Armlet, you should definitely go Sange first, because you need the HP more than you need the movement speed when you only have 1000 HP. But if I went Armlet first, I would feel content knowing my armor was very high, or my HP was very high, and I would then go for the Yasha first to complement my mobility. So I feel pretty good about my item build here. It's not super high damage, but it's decent. I have a disable, I've got a lot of mana. I'm getting levels fairly fast, another really good thing that Midas gives you. If you are playing Wraith King, by the way, I would recommend, it kind of depends who you're playing against. If you're playing against a hero that counters you, like Anti-Mage for example, I really recommend opting for the early Blink Dagger and then straight into Armlet. And you have to play really aggressive. If you're playing against a hero like Anti-Mage, you're actually not that bad against Anti-Mage. Like, Anti-Mage beats Wraith King because he drains his mana. But in the early game, you're actually much better than Anti-Mage. It's not even close. Yes, he prevents you from having an ultimate, but you have a physical crit, you have a stun, you have lifesteal. It doesn't really matter if you die, basically, because you're going to kill him first, and that's only if you're able to properly gank the Anti-Mage. So if you are playing against Anti-Mage, I really recommend rush Blink and organize the gank or two on AM, get a little bit ahead of him, get a Armlet, and he basically can't even touch you until he gets Manta style. So basically, all the way up until, like, if he's a perfect Anti-Mage, he'll have Manta at, like, what, 22 minutes or something like that? So you basically have 22 minutes to get a Blink Dagger and gank the shit out of Anti-Mage. It's something you definitely can't handle. I was really happy that he landed the auto attack there, because it guaranteed the kill there on the Batrider. A little bit slow on my wands.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
The old attacker creep. Got a lot of misses there. It's definitely annoying to have to deal with the evasion, but
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
That was nice.
Radiant's
A
middle
little bit of
tower
heal.
is under
Definitely
attack.
really annoying to deal with the evasion, but it's something that you do have to deal with sometimes. And it's, you know, if you're ahead, it doesn't really matter that much. If PA has just as much farm as you or more farm than you, then things get really scary. But Wraith King is a carry that should be able to get ahead consistently. He should always be able to get ahead. He has a better early game toolkit. He has a lot of damage. He's fairly item independent. He farms pretty fast by having a natural crit. There's a lot of reasons that Wraith King should be ahead. Also, if you die, it'll usually lead to you getting a kill or more and more farm. Another reason that it's very good. At this point, I was basically like, alright, maybe I should actually show up to this fight. This is really nicely done by Wolfman, this wraparound here. As soon as I landed that stun, I knew that was a kill. You do have to worry about blink dodging when you're playing Wraith King. People can very easily dodge your abilities, so it's another reason blink dagger is so nice. If you wonder why I got a plate mail here instead of working on my MKB, it's because I knew that I basically needed a survivability option. If I went armlet, I could have gone MKB immediately afterwards, but because I had no armor pieces, I knew that I absolutely had to get an armor piece here. So because of my bad skill or my bad item build earlier, I knew that I had to at least get a plate mail, because that way if Elder Titan's aura was on me, I would still have 10 armor, which would make my survivability go significantly higher. I think the biggest mistake you can make on a Wraith King in terms of itemization is if you opt for no survivability, basically. Like, a lot of people will go stuff like the Mjolnir Blade Mail build is something that you can do, but at some point, against anything that has minus armor, you can't go that build in my opinion, because you just die too fast, and it really makes your ultimate kind of worthless. You initiate and you like instantly die, kind of a thing. And that's not what you want to do. You want to make it a little hard for them to kill you. You want to take at least like one guy out with you before you die, and then come back and make it a little bit harder even for them to kill you. So if you do go these kinds of builds, I think your survivability is a little bit more important than your damage in almost all cases. The only time that your damage is more important is when you have mobility, then it doesn't matter. Damage is probably better because you're going to be able to jump on top of one of your opponents and initiate on them. As you can see, PA is applying his Desolator to me. Another reason why it's really good that I went armor here. Because if I had Elder Titan aura and I had to worry about a Deso applying to me all the time, then I definitely would get screwed. So my next item that I'm making is the AC. That'll give me 15 armor, lots of attack speed to load the armor of my opponents, and give my teammates armor as well. So it's actually a very nice item to have. It'll counteract the Elder Titan a lot, make my team better, all that stuff. Boom. Attack speed increase is not bad. Now, at this point, I have way too much attack speed, and I have not nearly enough damage, so I'm definitely lacking in damage here. Which means that my next item is definitely going to be an MKB. I can't remember if I saw him or not here. The extra movement speed was kind of nice against the Lich as well, but right now it was fine. Later on it ended up being a little bit of a problem. And now I said Roche time. As soon as I S and Y proc, you can also rush a little bit easier because it'll reduce his attack speed by a lot. But I can pretty easily deal with him right now. My armor is really high. My attack speed's quite high. Grabbed Aegis. Normally you don't really want it on Wraith King. It's probably better off on your other carries, but in this case I just grabbed it because nobody else was here. But I don't really like getting it. You might be wondering why I use Midas on the small creep instead of the big creep. It's because I want my farm rate. I'm more worried about gold than I am levels at this point. Like before 16, you really want to hit 16 as fast as possible because the cooldown on your reincarnation becomes so low, down to 60 seconds. Very, very important that you get to this. But after that, you're more worried about gold than you are about levels. Also, early game, it takes a long time. Your damage isn't very high, so it takes a long time to kill large creeps. So it's usually better to Midas those, because that way they die instantly. But in later stages of the game like this, where my damage is really high, I'm pretty happy to just do damage to other people. Now, if you're wondering why I ran past the tower like that, it's because I feel very, very strong right now. And my goal is basically just to zone my opponents from being able to defend us. But then I looked on the map and realized that almost all of us were in a different lane, which is a little scary. But luckily, because we had a Winter Wyvern, this means that we should be able to heal myself up, and I'll get like 20% of my HP back. Went from about 530. So yeah, I basically doubled my HP. That's pretty good. What did I run into that one? Again, my HP is still pretty low.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified.
The whole like Deso applying to me is actually pretty nice from range, because basically means that when the tower hits me I take significantly more damage. So the sieging thing's actually pretty tough. If we didn't have a Winter Wyvern here, this would have been very difficult to do. Spectre kind of wasted his ulti big time here. I mean, I'm trying to catch up to somebody, but if I just would have stunned one person as he used his ultimate, we definitely, like, we killed a Bat Rider and stuff, but it didn't have to be like this. Then I went back to kill creeps, and I probably should have stayed and fought.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
This is the Barnyy TP. I wasn't quite sure if he was going to get the dust off, so...
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Should be really... I've got a Midas up like this whole time. I used one, but it wasn't enough to save me. I just took a little bit too much. This is definitely time to run. So at this point, pretty much everybody was dead. And then the Spectre went in. So I was like, I'll help you, Spectre. Luckily he died the burn. My Midas has been off cooldown this entire time. So it's been a very nice time to have an MKB. Or to have a team. And I've been trapped. So I gave him a lot of gold there. That was just a really bad series of events there. If I had a Blink Dagger, I would have lived, probably. Because either time that I respawned, I would have been able to blink back to safety. Also, it's a lot easier to go high ground if you have a blink, because I can basically just blink myself in a really aggressive place, immediately stun somebody, and just try to kill them in a second or two. If I have phase and S and Y, they're going to see it coming consistently. Blink is just basically better, much better for sieging. In the early game, moving around the map, I really like the movement speed advantage that I got out of phase boots and S and Y, but at this point I definitely wish that I had a Blink Dagger. So around here I was basically like, yeah, this build's alright, but I don't think it's as good as the best one. The best build is still Treads, Armlet, Blink. Followed up by whatever you need, whether that's AC. Like, if my opponents don't have evasion, if they don't have a PA, I would skip MKB and I would go AC. And then after that, I would probably go Abyssal Blade, but if I need to deal with a Butterfly, then I'll usually buy an MKB there. This game, I basically said I need armor to deal with the minus armor that they have, and then I said now I need an MKB to deal with the evasion that they have. So then we just started kind of throwing. That was really scary for me, because I was like, man, I really don't want to lose this game that we're stomping. That would be bad. And my Midas was off cooldown for eons. That was disgusting. I didn't realize at the time that I was focused on other things. Should have looked. It's a dead hero. So yeah, I definitely like the new phase though. It feels really good. I really want to try it on a support because the speed at which I would approach ganks was amazing. I'm like, man, I'm really fast right now. That's awesome. Like, yeah, Tranquil Boots does the similar thing, so maybe it's kind of a waste to get it over Tranquils, but if you have some support heroes that do actually have really high, very high, like, HP regen or survivability by themselves, then it might be worth it to go phase instead. The best part is that like yesterday he played kind of bad like 2 games. He played pretty good the first games we played, but we played like 7 games and that it always goes really bad the last half. I didn't want him to chain frost, so I just threw the stun on him. That guy lagged or something. Oh, I thought I saved both men there, but
Radiant's bottom barracks has fallen.
and now I just try to hit the PA. This BKB lasts so long. I really wanted to dive this one, but again, midas off cooldown. Nothing else new.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Back to the jungle. They had quite good slows this game. If they don't really have damage over time abilities either, so that's another reason that Blink would have been really good. I think if they have slows, it's better just to go for, much better just to go for a Blink dagger than it is to go for movement speed. I think it helps a lot more. Alright, anything else to say about Wraith King? Next items, Abyssal Blade. I could still justify a Blink Dagger at this point. I really don't like buying MKBs, honestly. The damage they do is far less than a Daedalus. In this case, Wraith King should almost always buy an MKB over Daedalus because the crits don't quite exactly stack. Always move a little bit in between your attacks. Luckily for me, I also had MKB, so it interrupts his channeled ability, and then kind of got in a bit of a wrong place. Kind of a shit fissure, but Bounty Hunter quite dead. And again, my midas. Probably should use it on the small one there. I could have gotten an extra like 60 gold. But I'm pretty safe at this point. Next item definitely would have been Abyssal Blade, I think. Or Blink, or I don't think Moonshard really. I think Moonshard's far better when you have an Abyssal or a Basher. So I'd probably skip that.
Radiant's middle barracks has fallen. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
The only way that Batrider would survive that is if he blinks right before the Radiance damage ticks on him. If the Haunt comes and Batrider takes any damage, he just dies. Oh, he also could have probably forced himself to the other side. That would have been good, I guess. I should move my camera more down. I don't really need to watch myself farm. This is kind of stupid. This was nice. I felt really good about him getting wrecked there. Once you get MKB, like, PA is just not the same. He only has Deso Lads. I used to go that build, actually. I don't really think that's the new build for PA. It's cool that you can apply the Desolator on your daggers, but I don't think that's how you should play the hero. Somebody gave vision, so... Yeah, I think Abyssal is the next item here for sure. The damage increase alone is massive. Gives you 100 damage. Gives you those big crit numbers. Can stun somebody for like 4 seconds, not including patches. Like, that's why Blink is so good on Wraith King. It just transitions so good with everything. Like, any damage you item increases your damage by a shitload. and then you buy Abyssal Blade, then you can blink Abyssal somebody for 2 seconds, and afterwards stun them for Wraithfire for 2 more seconds. It's just like, this hero is just so easy to itemize. Maybe it's not easy and you have to think about some stuff, but it's like so many of his items are just amazing. Turns out I can't deal with that much minus armor and that many heroes hitting me. And the damage he takes is just so little when he's
Radiant's Ancient is under attack.
like the synergy of their team was actually very good. I think it was right of him to go Deso this game because it stacks so well with the Elder Titan, but I'm gonna try to do a PA game sometime this week as well. I think PA is pretty good right now. Maybe not like overpowered or anything like that, but it's a nice little feature that he got. There's some ways that some things that you can abuse that I'll show you guys. I read them on Reddit mostly. So I'll take that knowledge and pawn it off as my own, per usual. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. That's Wraith King. He's pretty much the same. I like Phase Boots, kind of a fun build. But as a whole, I still think the Armlet Blink Dagger is better. But this is kind of fun. Run around, stun people, know your limits, and outplay your opponents. Alright, thanks for watching. See you guys later.